A trial that has captured America, the trial of Lindsay Clancy.
The Massachusetts mother claims that postpartum psychosis led her to kill her 3 young children.
She became very depressed, and she was having a really hard time.
The central question for jurors is if she was legally responsible at the time.
This trial has gone global.
I think you guys are judging the wrong person.
She was aware that that was wrong or against the law and that she could be punished.
She loved her children, all of them, very, very much.
Is Lindsay Clancy criminally responsible for the deaths of her 3 young children? That's the question facing a jury in Massachusetts as the trial of the former nurse accused of strangling her children in January 2023 is underway. Lindsay Clancy doesn't dispute carrying out the killings of 5-year-old Cora, 3-year-old Dawson and 8-month-old Callan before she jumped out of a second window floor. Prosecutors say she acted deliberately, but she's pleaded not guilty to murder charges. Her defence team argues that she was suffering from a severe postpartum mental illness, including psychosis, and was unable to understand the consequences of her actions. Our reporter Anna Fagey is following the trial.
What happened on that January 2023 day was Lindsay Clancy's husband went to go run a few errands. He left her at home alone with the children, and that's when she killed the 3 of them and attempted to kill herself. The prosecution alleges that she made a calculated decision to intentionally kill her 3 children. They say she knew what she was doing, and they're arguing against the postpartum psychosis explanation that the defense has offered. What they need to prove is that she was criminally responsible and should be found guilty of those 3 first-degree murder charges that she faces.
Lindsay Clancy is not expected to take the stand during the trial, but her defence team has argued that she was not criminally responsible for her actions. Here's Anna again with a closer look at the defence case.
The argument defending Lindsay Clancy centers around her diagnosis of postpartum psychosis. Her lawyers are saying that she wasn't in her right mind when she killed her 3 children. Throughout the trial, we've heard from a number of family members of Lindsay Clancy's, including her mother and her mother-in-law, and they brought forward some of the most emotional testimony talking about how she was feeling at the time, how she wasn't really herself, how she was, as they say, begging for help.
The beginning of December, it seemed like she very much decompensated. I do remember her saying at one point at the beginning of December, something along the lines of, I'm in a really tough spot. And knowing what she had shared with me previously about how her mental health had been struggling, I had this gut feeling that something was off and that she was really struggling, and I asked her if she was safe.
What did she say?
She said yes at that point.
Lindsay was a very loving mother. She was dedicated to her children. She was a fun mother. She was always doing things for her kids. She always wanted to be a mother, have many children, and I felt it was the best thing that ever happened to her. And she would do anything for her children. She was just a loving mother.
Very early on in the trial, we heard directly from Patrick Clancy, Lindsay Clancy's husband. They've since divorced, but he took to the stand and he basically said that the person who killed his children was not who he knew his wife to be.
She started to lose a lot of weight, and she became very depressed, and she was having a really hard time.
And did she describe to you some thoughts or feelings that she was having at that time?
Yeah, she started to say she was suicidal.
Well, as we've just heard, a key element of the trial is the concept of postpartum psychosis. But what is it exactly? Here's Deborah Becker, host at WBUR, the National Public Radio's affiliate in Boston, who's also been following the trial.
It's one of the disorders that new mothers can experience in the months after giving birth. And it's described as having symptoms that can be misdiagnosed quite easily: irritability, anxiety, insomnia, things that might happen to a sleep-deprived person who is taking care of a new infant. And so I think it hasn't been getting the attention that it probably should be getting, because it happens in about 1 to 2 of every 1,000 births. And what happens in that case is someone becomes detached from reality and can start being very delusional and having very extreme symptoms, and it can be a dangerous disorder. But what most experts say is it's temporary and it's treatable if it's diagnosed properly. And of course, the defense in Lindsay Clancy's case is arguing that this is what she experienced that led her to kill her children.
Well, let's hear now from a woman who's spoken about her own struggle with postpartum psychosis. Hayley Ashcombe has been sharing her experience with Chanel Call of CBS News.
Good job! Hayley Ashcombe dreamed of having a big family.
I had always wanted to be a mom.
But in 2020, after giving birth to her first son, Kane, that dream turned into a nightmare.
It first presented kind of as insomnia, difficulty sleeping, a lot of anxieties, but they continued to escalate. What I believe were intrusive thoughts ended up turning into voices.
Ashcombe says she was diagnosed with postpartum depression and prescribed Zoloft, the same anti-anxiety medication Lindsay Clancy was first prescribed. But those voices, Ashcombe says, got louder and turned violent.
I've never in my life gone through a period where I thought it would be better not to be alive. And all of a sudden, it became the only option.
Ashcombe says she went straight to a hospital and, like Clancy, was prescribed a second anti-anxiety med.
Did those voices go away?
Unfortunately, they just continued to get worse.
Ultimately, she checked herself into a psychiatric hospital, where she says she was diagnosed with postpartum psychosis.
How much did you know about postpartum psychosis?
Nothing. I was so taken aback and thought that I was such a monster.
This feels like a watershed moment.
Dr. Catherine Berndorf treats women with this illness.
Is this being underdiagnosed?
I fear that it is.
She says postpartum psychosis isn't listed in the standard handbook used by American mental health experts, which means many doctors often don't know what to look for.
Are women falling through the cracks here?
Yeah, they are. It's a very lethal and dangerous illness that, when left untreated, has tragic outcomes.
Ashcombe is thankful she got the treatment she needed in time and went on to have 3 more children without experiencing psychosis again.
Chanel Call, CBS News.
Well, back to the trial now, because the court proceedings have been streamed by millions of people online and have sparked intense debate.
I think you guys are judging the wrong person.
Social media has been flooded with commentary, claims about perceived inconsistencies in the evidence, and a range of conspiracy theories. Our social media investigations correspondent, Mariana Spring, has been looking into them.
This case has absolutely taken over social media feeds, and what started as often legitimate concerns and questions that people had about the trial, people expressing support for Lindsay Clancy or concerns around the way that women are treated when they've had kids and are possibly experiencing mental health difficulties, has now snowballed into a whole range of unfounded conspiracy theories and at times quite harmful misinformation. Loads of other people related to the case are being targeted. The ex-husband of Lindsay Clancy has found himself one of the main focuses of a lot of the speculation and then misinformation online. Again, apart, different from valid concerns that people have. And a lot of the people getting involved in this are what we might call sleuths, TikTok sleuths, people who pore over the case. They're watching the clips from the court or live stream feeds every single day and trying to make sense of what's going on from their bedrooms and from their homes. And while there's some valid commentary, a lot of this can get quite toxic. I mean, we've even seen people basically recreating the murder scene with Bratz dolls. It's what we would often call as sleuthing gone a bit wrong.
Well, at the heart of this trial is a single question. Was Lindsay Clancy legally responsible for what she did? Let's take a look at the possible outcomes of the trial and what the future might look like for the accused. Back to our reporter, Anna Fagey.
When the jury reaches their conclusion, if they find that Clancy is guilty of those first-degree murder charges, she'll face a mandatory life sentence without the possibility of parole, and that's mandatory in the state of Massachusetts. If she's found not guilty, she'll have to undergo a mental evaluation, and then she'll likely be committed to hospital.
That is all you need to know about the Lindsay Clancy trial.